Hey everyone, this is Matt with the Fundamental Investing Institute. Thank you for tuning in today. We're going to do a video. It's going to be part one of two videos that we're going to do, and we're going to talk about debt service and cash flow. So in a previous video, we talked about how to use our cash flow figure to value the business. We're using just a basic multiple approach at this point. So now we want to think about the debt. The debt is going to be, in these SMB acquisitions, the debt is going to be the majority of the purchase price. As we talked about in a previous video, these deals are so attractive in part because of how much debt we're using. We can use 80-90%. We can use 80-90% debt in these deals. So once we have a good cash flow measure, we're taking into account the cost of involvement or the cost of hiring a manager if I want to do this, and then we're taking into account capital expenditures, and we're using kind of a reserve. Once we get that, what we call normalized free cash flow, now we can think about that cash flow measure in relation to the debt. Now, if I go to a local lender and I'm trying to finance this through an SBA loan, the way that we're thinking about this, assuming there's no real estate involved, they're going to amortize that loan over 10 years, right? And then they're going to give me a rate. That rate is usually going to be the prime rate, which is, you can find that online. And usually it's going to be that prime rate plus 2%. And then we're going to have some closing costs associated with that. And what we have to do is we have to calculate that payment, and we have to look at that normalized cash flow relative to that payment, and we have to see if the cash flow is adequate to cover that debt service, right? So we want to do that analysis ourselves before we go to a bank, because we don't want to spin our wheels going to a bank and they turn us down. So, this debt service coverage, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at, it's basically a fraction. We're going to take that normalized free cash flow figure, that's going to be the numerator, the top number, and then that total fixed payment that we're getting on the loan, that's going to be the denominator, and we're going to see how well the cash flow covers the debt service. So in the next video, we'll come up with a very simple example, and I'll tell you how I like to think about it on my end. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.